And a lot of you don't even know that maybe your children's allergic symptoms that they may have, the runny nose, the sinus pressure, the itching, right? Without even knowing, these candles could be affecting the health of your child. You might not even know that there's a lot of these candles that are going to affect the health of your cat, the health of your dog, and ultimately your health. We love scented candles in America. When I was putting together this segment, I thought about back in 2004, right? I was in college and I dated this girl and she loved Yankee candles. You know about these candles? You know, I remember they had them in the mall and you walk into a Yankee candle and it's like a tidal wave of all these multitude of scents. And I remember how fun it used to be to just like take out the little glass top and do a little sniff and then close it up. And then this one and do a little sniff and close it up. And before you know it, you're high on the chemicals from Yankee Candle. Well, this girlfriend had every single room in our house filled with a Yankee Candle. And you'd walk in, you get hit with something, right? You got the sparkling cinnamon hit as soon as you walk in. And then you go into the bedroom and that's the Christmas cookie scent, right? And then you go into the bathroom and you get the coconut beach scent. And I'm like, wow, this is really pleasant. Until I connected that my itchy eyes and my allergies that always happened at our house for some reason that I thought was like maybe in the rug. And I'd be like, oh, you don't vacuum your rug. It was coming from the candles. And a lot of you don't even know that maybe your children's allergic symptoms that they may have, the runny nose, the sinus pressure, the itching, right? Without even knowing, these candles could be affecting the health of your child. You might not even know that there's a lot of these candles that are going to affect the health of your cat, the health of your dog, and ultimately your health. So this is a proper, really important piece that I want to put out there to you because so many of us use candles. Here are some fun facts about candles from the National Candle Association. Over 400 commercial, religious, and institutional candle manufacturers exist in the United States. I'm going to give you a second to just take a guess how many pounds of wax are melted per year in the United States for candles. Take a 5-second guess. Okay, 1 billion pounds. People love candles. And candle manufacturers, they're making a killing on candles. So typically, a major US candle manufacturer offers 1,000 to 2,000 varieties of candles in its product lines. I didn't even know that. That's a lot of SKUs. Candle sales have grown actually 10 to 15% per year in the last decade. And it's really fueled by the customers' interest in aromatherapy and increased demand for home fragrant products. Manufacturers, surveys show that more than 95% of all candles are purchased by the women out there. When it comes to fragrance, there's about 10,000 different candle scents out there. So you are never at a loss for whatever you want. You could do your Virginia Beach sand scent, and then you could do your Christmas tree evergreen scent, right? Whatever you want is out there. Don't even worry about that. Worry about other stuff, and I'm going to tell you what. Fragrance is by far the most important characteristic impacting candle purchases today. About 3/4 of candle buyers are saying that it's extremely important or very important in their selection of the candle. Okay, great. But when it comes to fragrance, a lot of things that we don't know about will start coming to the surface when we learn what is the implication of fragrance on our health. Now, the majority of US consumers use candles within a week of their purchase. 9 out of 10 candle users say that they use candles to make room for feeling comfortable and just cozy, right? And that's great, right? I love the idea of a nice scent and, maybe a little fireplace, maybe a little Netflix, maybe a little pajamas, right? That's a nice little, winter feeling. I get it. Candle users say most frequently they're burning candles at the highest percent in the living room, 42%, followed by the kitchen, 18%, and the bedroom, 13%. And approximately 1 in 5 women say they use candles to decorate their yard, patio, exterior, and interior of their home. Both men and women consider candles to be a great gift, and it is a great gift if you're purchasing a healthy one. That's my little caveat. Candle purchasers say they view candles as the appropriate gift for the holidays. About 6% of people are gifting this for a holiday gift, 74% for housewarming, dinner parties, 66%, just thank you, 61% of people, and just adult birthday gifts are about 58%. So we love candles. We love gifting candles. Candles can go from anywhere from 50 cents for like those little cheap tea light ones, all the way to $75 for a big one. But the artesian ones, and those like the really high-end ones could be at least $200. That's wild for something that's going to burn. When it comes to candles, what makes them toxic, quote unquote? And we say toxic as a just general umbrella term, but I'm going to go into really what does make it toxic. Scented candles can release potentially harmful chemicals in the air when it's burned. The aroma that is lit from a scented candle is released through evaporation of the fragrance from a hot wax pool. And it's from the solid candle itself. We know that, we see it melt. But it releases something called volatile organic compounds. You hear me talk about these in many things. It can be from cleaning supplies to a bed, but certainly candles. Now, even with fragrance products labeled as like green, organic, they can also emit nasty chemicals in the air. That's the greenwashing we see in a lot of these chemically rich candles. So burning of the paraffin wax releases the volatile organic chemicals in the air, and these could be nasties like acetone, benzene, and toluene, which I'll talk about in a minute. When we think about candles, there's different components that cause different levels of risk. Most candles are made of paraffin wax. And many of these scented candles that we see, the paraffin is a byproduct of petroleum refining. So when that paraffin wax is burned, it releases a lot of those chemical compounds that I just mentioned, like benzene and toluene. We know these to be carcinogens, meaning that they can, may, or likely cause cancer, just depending on the type of chemical. But we inhale them. But we also have fragrances in there. And remember I said, most people buy candles based on fragrance. So most of you are having fragrance-rich candles. And if it's not a clean company that does it right, it's most likely going to be chemically rich, synthetically rich fragrance. But what's the problem with that? Yeah, they emit volatile organic compounds also. And they can have long-term or short-term effects. Now, remember, the term fragrance is an encompassing term. It's a proprietary blend. It's the company's way of saying, we don't want to disclose everything to you, so we'll just use the word fragrance. And while not all fragrances are harmful, some, can raise potential concerns. And we don't even know how they interact with each other. We just know about them single chemicals in a vacuum affecting us on a certain level. But we don't know how they react together or interact together, or what happens when it happens in the body. So some of these chemicals can be big-time hormone disruptors. So here's a chemical that is lurking in your candles, and you may not know it. Phthalates are a group of chemicals that are used to stabilize the fragrance of the candle, but they're implicated in endocrine disruption. Phthalates are known to interfere with the endocrine system. They mimic or block the action of different hormones, and this disruption can affect the normal functioning of your endocrine system. Right? It regulates all those crucial processes in your body like development, metabolism, and just reproductive function. But phthalates are nasty. They affect your reproductive health. It can reduce fertility, alter sperm quality, cause developmental issues in male reproductive organs. And pregnant women exposed to phthalates can have an increased risk of low birth infants and delivering preterm. It also causes respiratory issues. If you have a child in your home who's exposed to phthalates coming from a candle, that child can develop respiratory issues, asthma, and allergies. It can be toxic to the liver and kidneys. It can affect a child's brain. Phthalates have been connected to adverse neurobehavioral outcomes like lower IQ and attention deficit disorder. It's connected to obesity, insulin resistance, metabolic disorders, immune system effects. It can affect our immune system. It can increase our risk of cancer. And lastly, it can irritate our skin. So when it comes to candles, some of the chemicals in there that can disrupt your health are fragrances. Fragrances being the umbrella term of the company saying, I'm not going to tell you what's in here. We're just going to give you the word fragrance. And a lot of companies do this. But some of the compounds like benzene are known human carcinogens, and they can be found in your candle. But benzene is a chemical that is often found in conventional candles that is known to be a carcinogen, meaning it can cause cancer. Aldehydes, such as formaldehyde, another known cancer-causing chemical that we find in candles. Ethylene glycol, which we see regarded as safe, but at high levels of exposure can cause health issues, especially in pregnant women. Acetone, we see that in nail polish remover. So did you know in conventional candles, the wick may be problematic? See, the wick can be made of lead. And as you burn that wick, it could be releasing heavy metals into the air. And with prolonged exposure to a lead-based wick, we can see neurological effects, developmental delays, behavioral disorders, especially in children, anemia, kidney damage, reproductive issues, cardiovascular health issues. You can have impaired hearing, decreased bone mineral density, gastrointestinal issues, immunotoxicity, even dental effects like increased risk of cavities. And if you don't know that you're burning this candle and it's releasing lead over and over into the air, and you're doing it every day long term, and your child is being exposed, your dog, your cat, and you, well, that's a problem, because the thing about heavy metals is that they bioaccumulate in your tissues. So the more you're releasing heavy metal lead into the air and breathing it in, over time you're putting yourself and your children at risk. So can fragrance in candles actually affect your overall health? Yeah, there was a Saudi Arabian study, and it was on students. And they wanted to look at the prevalence of scented candle usage among students. There was 472 students that were tested in this study. So among these scented candle users, 34.8% of the respondents used scented candles more than 4 times a month, and 40.2% of the respondents lit candles for 20 to 40 minutes. Now, a total of 117 of these respondents reported health-related problems, and the top 3 health problems due to scented candles were headaches at 15.2%. And of the 117 people who reported these health-related problems, 72 or 15.2% reported headaches, 42 or 8.9% reported shortness of breath, and 37 or 7.8% developed a cough. Now, the duration of more than 60 minutes of scented candle exposure showed a higher occurrence of headaches, higher occurrence of sneezing and wheezing. So now the ultimate question is, how do we buy a non-toxic candle? We want to look for safer alternatives out there. Now, materials like soy or beeswax, they tend to produce fewer airborne toxins when burned. So you want to look for candles with cotton wicks. Now I'm going to go into cotton in a moment because it's not always clean, but you want to look for also natural phthalate-free fragrances. So soy candles are not always non-toxic. You got to read the ingredients first. And because you can't buy an organic soy candle, it can't ensure that the soy is coming from an organic source. You want to call the company and ask if the soy oil they're using is organic, or look at their certificate of analysis and make sure that they're using clean soy oil, especially if you're using it all the time. Now, as far as the scents and candles, essential oil scented candles can be more natural or potentially less toxic option compared to candles with synthetic fragrances. However, it's important to consider several factors. Pure essential oils, right? A candle can say it's pure essential oils. And ideally, yeah, pure and natural is going to be derived from plants, but essential oils themselves can be extracted from plants and can have various properties and scents. Great. But some of these are going to be additives and blends. You can actually get 1% oil and 99% synthetic. So you want to make sure that the candle's using essential oils that are 100% coming and derived from natural substances, and they're not using any synthetic additives, and it's not a blend. It is pure essential oils. You want to make sure the quality is high quality. You want to make sure, talk to the company and make sure they're not using synthetic solvents to extract the essential oils. Not all essential oils are created equal. If you have children, if you have a newborn, you want to make sure you stay away from essential oils. Aromatically, peppermint oil, eucalyptus oil, rosemary oil, marjoram, anise, fennel, all of these, you want to make sure you're not using around children under 5 years old. Just because it's an essential oil doesn't mean that it's healthy to be diffusing throughout the house. Now, there's certain essential oils that are safe for children, but I would absolutely research that. Some of those being cedarwood, ginger, and sweet orange, but there's a longer list. And then there's a whole nother list for dogs and cats. So you want to make sure you're treating this in the right way. Just because it's sold on the supermarket shelf or the special candle store shelf doesn't mean that it's safe. Now, when it comes to the waxes and wicks, the type of wax the candle uses is very important, and the material of the wick is very important. So you want to look for candles that use natural waxes and wicks, such as cotton, to avoid any potential contaminants. But remember, cotton in itself can be treated with chemicals and bleached. So you want to make sure the cotton in itself is unbleached. You want to make sure the candle's phthalate-free. I went over phthalates just before, told you what they do in the system, how they disrupt your system. A lot of these companies you can ask, or they should be certifying or putting on their label, no phthalates used for this. Very important. Now, as far as the base, soy wax is made from soybean oil, and it's a great option for a clean and even burn. Soy wax candles, they have a longer burn life than traditional paraffin wax ones, but again, soy oil is used to create the soy wax. You want to make sure that this company is using organic, clean soy oil, right? Because anything else is going to be adulterated with a lot of these chemicals that soy oil uses. Beeswax is great. You want to make sure the beeswax is renewable and biodegradable. It's actually one of my favorite ones because it emits negative ions when burned, so it actually can cause a relaxation effect. Coconut wax is another fantastic one, and make sure it's renewable and eco-friendly. This is great for a clean, even burn and long-lasting. Those are two of actually my favorite, beeswax and coconut. As far as the wicks, again, I talked about cotton. You want to make sure that there's no sketchy chemicals in there. Other options outside of cotton are wood and hemp. If you're burning a candle that's questionable, always make sure you have proper ventilation Open the windows, maybe open the door if you need to. Make sure you have your air purifier on, right? Read the labels, hold these companies accountable. It's that time right now in the consciousness of health where we have enough information out there to make better informed decisions. So you may not know that the candle you're using may use synthetic fragrances, have a lead-based wick. The paraffin is derived from petrochemicals. It has phthalates in there. You may not know that, but now you have information out there about how to search for one. Now you know what questions to ask the companies. Now you know even if there's essential oils, which ones to use and which ones not to use, especially if you have children. The company should be transparent. The company should be showing you, hey, you know, we don't have phthalates in here. We make sure that we use the best, cleanest fragrances, 100% essential oils. This is what the wick is made out of. That's the companies you really want to support anyway. And if you want to use more reference, there's a fantastic report by my friend Lee from Momavation 2021 report. She has a list of candles to use, candles to stay away from. And as always, you can go on the Swell Score. I've handpicked my favorite candles on there. There's 2 or 3 companies already, maybe even 4 at this point, where you can just pick the best of the best. And it's not just candles, it's everything out there. Shout out to Swell Score, I love it. All right, now you got the codes on the candles. You know what to do. Now that the holiday's coming, you can do the best by your home air, do the best by your children, your dog, your cat, your family. Make sure you're getting the cleanest candles out there so it smells good, but it's not hurting anyone's respiratory system, their nervous system, their hormones, their reproductive system. You know how nasty these chemicals are. Thank you so much for listening to this Knowledge Bomb. Let us get into the special guest segment with Tony. I'm ready to work out just even saying his name. Let's do it.